Have you ever wanted to create a chatbot that not only saves the user's response, but also sends a summary of that response to the user? Perfect. You're in the right video because I'm going to be showing you how to do that. My name is Rachel Rabo. I'm a Microsoft MVP, a developer, and I use Dynamics 365 CRM, Power Platform, and especially Copilot Studio in my day-to-day. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create this chatbot using Microsoft Copilot Studio. And it's amazing because there is no coding involved. Okay? So don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Let's go ahead to the video. So we are looking at saving the responses of users and also providing a summary of the user's response to them, like all the information you get from them, providing a summary to them. We are going to be using message node and also an adaptive card. So we have two options to either use a message node or to use an adaptive card to show the summary of the user's response. So, but the first thing first is that let's try to understand how to save the user's response. So here we have our topic, okay? So I'm just going to add the trigger phrases. I'm going to add trigger phrases like call, services, okay? Then YouTube, okay? So I'm just using whatever trigger phrase. I just want to show you how everything works. Okay, now, so I'm going to click on add node by clicking on the plus and asking the questions, because in order to get the user's information, you have to ask a question. So ask a question like, what is your name? Asking a question, what's your name? Then where we have identify, right now we have the multiple choice option. So if you are familiar with data types, so this is like a choice column where you get to add the choices, like the options. But we are not using this. We are going to just click on identify. Then we'll scroll down. So if you can see where we have down, you can see the city, colors, country or region, date and time, duration, email, event. So it just depends on what specific information are you asking from the user. So you can see from this top here, we have choose information to identify to help the agent pick out specific information from the user's response. Choose an option or an entity. Okay, so we are going to be working with this one called person's name. So it can either contain a person's partial or full name, and it is extracted as a string. Okay, so we are going to click on that, and then we are going to add another question. So we want to ask them what is their email address, and identify. I'm just going to go back again and select. So you see we have email, and email address is extracted as a string. So I advise you to just go through, like just go through this. You can see the different options you have. You have duration, you have event, if it's an event name, you have file, you have language, you have money, you have number, and you also have phone number too. Okay, so these are the things you have. Then let's ask our next question. Our next question is, so it just depends on you. You don't have to ask the same question as I am asking. Yours might be different, but I just want to give you the idea that, okay, after you take all this information from the user, you can actually provide a summary of their information. So what is your location? So we're going to look for country for location. So you can see it has country and region names. So extracted as a string. Okay. So I'm going to save that by just clicking on the save button. So this is just basically our agent. Our agent's name is demo. Then this is us working on our topic. And we have our trigger phrases as call, services, and YouTube. So let's test this and see how it works. So if we have, let's see the trigger phrase. So you can see it directly asks me question, Rachel, what is my email address? Outlook.com. What is my location? Malta. Okay, you see that is working. So it's the agent is asking me questions, like you can call it agent, you can call it chatbot, but so the bot is asking me questions and I'm responding with an answer. But if you want to check the validation of this, like what if I ask this user for an email address and then they, instead of giving me an email address, they just give me their name? How is it going to respond? Okay, so if I come to this place and try the trigger phrase again, okay, email address, let me say Rachel, it's going to ask me again because it's expecting an email, but I'm providing something else, and now I'm providing a name. So it's going to ask me again, what is your email address? And how is that working? If you go to the question node for what is your email address, if you click on the three dots and go to properties, you can see that we have question behavior and we have a reprompt in question behavior, where if the bot doesn't give a valid answer to the question, it can ask the question again. And the amount of times that it can ask this question is up to 2 times. So you get to do that here. You can say don't repeat. You can say repeat once and repeat up to 2 times. Or you can customize. Like if you want to write a message like, okay, like what you have done, it's incorrect. This is what we are expecting. Okay. So you can just add a message there to let the user know that, okay, what you are, and not test that to see what happens. Can let the user know that you are using the incorrect, this is not what we asked, like you're using an incorrect value. Let's say this is an incorrect value. It's an example. Okay, let's just say, let's leave it at this is an incorrect value. Okay, and now let's save and try it again one more time. Okay, so let's use the trigger phrase services. What's your name? Rachel. My email address, let me try again. Let me say Rachel again. So it's telling me that this is an incorrect value. Like what I entered is not what is expected. Okay. But if I correct that by using an email address, like the value is expected, it's going to go to the next question. So this works so this same process works for each and every one of them. So you just have to set it. Okay. And one thing to notice is that each of these question nodes, they have a place that they are saving the user's response. Like they all have a place that they are saving the user's response. Like for instance, the first one where we have what is your name? So let's just add the question mark here. So the first one where we have what is your name? Apart from where the message is entered, we have identify where we get to select our entity. Then we also have save user's response as. So this is where the user's response is saved, and it's usually saved in a variable. Okay, so this variable is variable one, and this is saving the person's name. If we click on it, you can rename this variable. Maybe you want to name it name, want to name it anything, you can rename it. Okay, and you also have, if you say, okay, no, I want to create a new variable, you can definitely create a variable here. Okay, and that's the same thing for the others. The question node for what is your email address, the user's response, the user that responds to this question, their response is saved in variable 2 for email address, and for location, their response is saved in variable 3. Okay, so that is how it works for saving the user's response. And let's go to providing a summary of the user's response using a message node. Okay, so if I click on this plus icon, it's going to give me options that I can select from. And I'm going to use send a message. Okay, so if I scroll down, I'm just going to write a text here. Okay, yes, you can modify your message to contain more than this, but let's just go. Here's a summary of your information. Okay, let's stop it at this point first. So I want to call every the questions that we asked, email address, then we had location. Okay, so right now what I'll do now is to call those variables that are saving the responses. So for name, the variable saving the variable saving name was variable 1. Where you scroll up, you can see we have variable 1 saving the response for the person's name, and variable 2 saving the response for email address, variable 3 saving the location. So if I come back here, on email address, I'm just going to click on this insert variable, then click on variable 2. So yours might be different. Yours might have a name like maybe location, maybe your variable is named location. So that's where it's going to work for you. You're just going to click on insert variable, then search for that variable and click on it. Okay. So in case if your variable's name is different, you don't have to worry about it. You just have to look for your variable. So let's test that to see how it works. So if you can notice, our triggers in these topics are call, services, and YouTube. So I'm just using those triggers to show you how everything looks like for this use case. Okay, services. I'm going to provide my name. I'm going to just provide a random email, my location. So you can see here is a summary of your information, name, email address, and location. But what if I want to make this a little bit more like a natural conversation, where after asking, here's a summary of your information, the user can confirm if this is correct or not. Like they can confirm that okay, there's a mistake in my information, or maybe yeah, okay, no, there is no mistake. They get an option to select if there is a correction that is needed, or if everything that was given to them is correct. So we can do that by, on the message node, you can see that you have an add icon. So if I click on it, we have message variation where we have our message right now. We have file, we have image, video, basic card, adaptive card, and quick reply. So I'm going to click on quick reply. We're going to be using the quick reply to create a button. Okay, so if I click on this ad right now, I'm going to say yes for the ad. Then I'm going to say continue. Okay, so continue is just an approval to say that okay, yes, this information is correct, and this is just a text. Like if you see the button, you can see that we have continue, and what this yes means is that the yes means that okay, this information that is here is correct. Okay, if we go to add, I'm going to write a value here, so it's like a value. I'm going to write no, then I'm just going to write for the title, I'm going to leave it at incorrect information. Okay, so then I'll save this, and let me show you how it looks like, how it works. So I'm just going to refresh this, use our trigger. What is your name? Rachel, email address, same random email. location. Okay, so you can see it now. Okay, so you can see it now. I have here's a summary of your information, my name, my email address, my location, and I have a button to select to either select continue or incorrect information. So now let's see what happens if I select continue or incorrect information. Like what reaction are we going to get? If I select continue, it's going to say, here is the information you provided. Is this correct? Okay, I'm going to say yes. So it depends. Sometimes it might just because it's created by generative AI. Sometimes it might bring a response like, okay, this is great. Then it will just write some other text. Okay, so you can see that ends it, at least for now. So you might get a different response from the response I've gotten. You can see this is AI generated. So your response might be different from my own response. But yes, okay. So if I click on, so let's go back to our topic. So this is another topic. Let's go back to our topic. Okay, so let's see how it works now for if we select that this is incorrect. What is your name? Rachel. My email address. Location. So I'm going to select incorrect information. So this is also going to make use of generative AI, and it's going to say, I apologize for any confusion. Could you please specify which information is incorrect or provide the correct details? So you can see this, that is AI generated. So you can see the two options that it has given us. And the reason why why this action is behaving like this is that on continue, you can see we selected yes, like yes, this is correct. That is what it means. Then incorrect information, it means that it's wrong. Like a, it's just trying to say that okay, yes means that go on, everything is fine. No means that stop, something is wrong. Okay. So now let's see how we can do this using an adaptive card. So we're just going to refresh and delete this. Okay, so we have our different nodes. So now let's see how we can use adaptive card to do the same thing we just did with our message node. So I'm just going to scroll down. Okay, so I'm just going to click on plus add node, scroll down and click on ask with adaptive card. Okay, so this is our adaptive card. I'm just going to click on this three dots and go to properties. Okay, so we have in adaptive cards, we have JSONs and formula. So I'm just going to change this from a JSON to a formula. And I'm going to remove this. Okay, so we are going to be working with this. Okay, so the first line of our formula, this is just explaining that, okay, this is an adaptive card and this is the version of this adaptive card. Okay, and from this point to this point here, it's just like the body of the adaptive card, like the way you have HTML where you declare with body. So it's more of it. So we are declaring it that okay, this is the body of the adaptive card where we have type text block, then we have the text. So we have like a heading which is summary of your information. So yours might be different, or you can add more information to this. So this is summary of your information, and this is weight. So weight is like font weight. You're telling it, okay, I want this weight to be light, I want it to be medium, I want it to be bold. So I want the heading or the subtopic to be bold. That is the font. Then we have size. Size is just font size. Like I want the font size to be medium. So that is where it stops. So this is where it stops for the heading. Okay. Then we then go to the where we are picking the responses of the user. So you can say we have type, text block, then we have text, which is the name. Then this topic variable one. So in order to explain that, if we come to, so I'm going to show you how that looks like, just to give you a better understanding of where it's coming from. Okay. So if I click on this insert variable, you can see our variables. We have, for variable one, we have topic.variable1 and we have topic.variable2. So if you watch the beginning of this video where I showed that, okay, the different variables are saving the responses, like this variable, like, okay, let me just show you from this particular point, like this variable for what is your name, it's saving the variable one, okay, like it's saving the response gotten in variable one. For location, the question on location is saving the response gotten in variable two, okay. So that is what we are using here. That is what is being called here, where we have topic dot variable one. So if you notice it again, in case if you did not catch that, so if you go to variable, you can see it's topic dot variable one. So just your variable might be different. Maybe you are calling your variable username, you are calling your variable location, whatever you're calling your variable. If for instance you are calling your variable username, it's going to be topic dot username, topic dot location, topic dot full name, whatever you are calling your variable. Topic is always going to be at the beginning of it. Okay, so now we have topic dot one. So we are calling the response of the user for their name. Then now the next one we have for the email address, we are calling the response of the user we are calling the response saved for the user for variable two, and also the same thing for variable three, which is location. Okay, so this is where this stops. Then we need a button, like we need a button in our adaptive card that even after they have seen the information, they can be able to click on it to say, okay, continue. Okay. And that is where this is happening, where we have our actions, and you can see we have the action.submit, and our button's name is continue. So let's test that to see how it works. I'm going to be adding this formula. I'm going to be adding this formula to the description of this video. So you can just go to the description and pick it up. Or if you have any issues with that, you can just drop a comment section and I'll direct you on how you can go about it. Okay, so I'm just going to use our trigger phrase here. Our trigger phrase is call, services, and YouTube. I'm just using these trigger phrases just to show you how everything works. So I'm going to use services. It's asking me my name, asking me my email address, it's asking me my location. So you can see this button, this is the button continue. So this is our adaptive card showing me summary of your information, name, email address, and location. So if I click on continue, nothing is going to happen. And the reason is because after the adaptive card, there is no other, like the adaptive card ends the conversation. There is nothing below it. Okay. So if I add another node, let's say send a message. Okay. So I add another node and I save this. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, email address. I'm just using a random email address. So now if I click on continue, so it's going to show the next node, which is okay. Okay, so this is how this works. You can improve more on it, but I just want to show you that, okay, if you want to pick a user's response using a message node, that is how it works. And if you want to use it with an adaptive card, this is how it works. So you can modify it, but I'm going to be adding the code the formula we use in the description of this video. If you found this useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'll see you in my next video.